We didn't record, and we didn't do the where is my live? For some reason, I'm not getting the choice to turn on the subtitles today. So I'm not going to spend time on that. I'm sorry. Okay, but at least we are recording now. Sorry about that. Okay, next question. Which branch structure does a program have to use to output yes if one thing, no otherwise? And that, of course, would be if else. So else by itself is no good because that's not proper syntax. It has to be as part of an if. If by itself would only give you one choice. They want two. And then if, else, if, elif, else, that's three choices besides else if is not quite right. All right. So which is true of the badly formatted code? This was an interesting one. This one you had to work through. So the first print statement must be indented. Well, that is true. So right underneath this if, you must indent. So that one's got to be indented. But what about the next one? Both print statements? No. The first one must be. The second one should be. So the answer is not this one. And the answer is not this one because the first one has to be indented. The second print statement can't be indented. No, yes, it can. It can be. So the right answer is the first print statement must be indented. Okay, any questions? Okie dokie. What is the result when this program is executed? And it's going to add the two parameters together and return the result. That's what the function does. So first the program is going to print begin test. And then it's going to try and add the string hello to the number 5, and that's going to fail. That's going to crash. So the program outputs begin test, then an error is generated, and the program exits. Because you can't add a string to a number. This question had a bit of a problem during the real exam. The question part of the question was missing, but I put out an email about that. So what has to be true in order to print B? Well, for sure, the B is way down here. So for sure, the color must be red. And the style can't be less than 3. And it has to be, therefore, greater than 3 or more, but has to be less than 5. Okay, so it has to be red, so that eliminates this answer. And it has to be less than 5, so it eliminates this answer and this answer, leaving only that one. Okay, now there's a whole lot of excess indentation here. Which in excess indentation must be removed? What line must they be removed on to make the program correct? And any answer that has 1 in it is wrong because there's no indentation there to remove. So this answer is incorrect and this answer is incorrect. So let's try There is indentation which must be removed on line 2. So the correct answer has to have a 2 in it and not a 1. So now we're left with this one and this one. So what about line 3, 2, 3? Yep. Anyway, this line 3, has excess indentation because it has to move to the left, just like the if statement above it. So 3 has got to be part of the answer. Well, that's it, because there's no 3 here. Therefore, this is the right answer. I hope it's useful to you that I'm going over why the wrong answers are wrong. So if you could give a thumbs up, any kind of reaction.
No, it's helpful.
Okay, good. All right. What is the value of sys.argv sub 1 added to the length of sys.argv sub 1? If you execute Python space prog.py space 121. And the answer is runtime error, because sys.argv only gives you strings and a length is a number. So once again, this problem is about the fact that you can't add a number plus a string. So the correct answer is B, or my B.
I actually had a question about this one.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
if it wasn't a runtime error, like if they were both numbers together and they're added, what would the actual answer be for this one?
Well, sys.argv is all strings, but suppose it was a number for some reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then the value would be the two numbers summed together.
Okay.
So what sequence is generated by a range of 4, 0, 1, 2, 3? So that is the correct answer. Okay, if x is 10 and y is 20, which of these is true? Is 20 less than or equal to 10? Nope, so it's not A. Is 20 greater than or equal to 10? Yes, so that's a good candidate. Let's look at C. Is 20 not equal to 20? And that's false. And then here is 10 equal 20? False. So the correct answer is y greater than or equal to x. Okay. What's the output of this program? X starts out at 18, and there's a while loop that will stop when x isn't a multiple of 3. Okay, so 18 mod 3 is 0. So it prints 18. That's going to eliminate answers A and C. So what's the next thing to be printed? So 18 divide, that's integer division. So 18 divide by 3 is 6. 6 is a multiple of 3, so it prints. So here is your right answer so far. That didn't disqualify B yet. So 6 divide by 3 is 2. Yep, so 2 is not a multiple of 3. So here is your correct answer, 18 and 6. Okay. Now this one had a little bit of a trick. You might have been thrown off in that this dictionary has key value key, all of this is value. So there's a dictionary inside the dictionary here, and I'm hoping that that didn't throw you off. The answer is, what is the length of the dictionary? That one, it's 2, because here's a key and here's a key. After a function's last statement is executed, the program returns to the next line after the function call. So when you call a function and the function ends, the next instruction to be executed is the one after the function call. Sound good? So which statement below causes the program to output the message, hello? So this is asking, how do you call a function correctly? How do you call this function correctly? A is not correct because you're giving it a parameter and there's no parameter here. B is incorrect because that's not how you call a function. C is incorrect because that's not how you call a function. There's missing parentheses. So the answer is D. Okay, a company wants to spam their users with useless email if they haven't logged in for more than 10 days, but less than 20. Which one of these is an if statement that decides whether or not you should send them an email? So let's see. If the number of days since login is greater than 10, that sounds good. And not number of days since login is less than 20. So let's try a good value should be like 15. 15 is greater than 10, it's less than 20. So what does 15 do here? So 15 is greater than 10, good. 15 is less than 20, that's true, but then add the word not to it, that makes the true into a false. So it's not A. Actually, it's B. Right? Which of these is an error? I'm gonna ask you to tell me that. I'm gonna wait for you to somebody tell me on my screen which is the answer and why.
B.
Correct, and why?
You need double equals if you're asking if it's equal to. If you have just one, it'd be assigning something.
Perfect, perfect answer. So this is the answer. Thank you. Okay, this was a questionable question because we didn't cover all. But I'm not giving points back for this question. I did already add 3 points. But there's another question which really had no business on this exam. So I'll give a point back for that one, not for this one. Okay, so all is going to return true if all of the items in the list evaluate to true. Now, these are numbers, and the truthiness of numbers is that all numbers other than 0 are considered true, but 0 is considered false. So the first item that we'll print here is false. And then the next one will print the minimum value added to the maximum value. And that's going to be minimum is 0 plus 4, so it's going to print 4. So false and 4. That answer. Now, I grant you that this wasn't an ideal question. Which determines if user unit is in the list of accepted units? If accepted units in user, this is backwards, so it's not that one. I don't know what this means, so it's not that one, and it's not that one. So if the user in unit is in the accepted units, that's the correct answer. So this was kind of a white horse question. Okay, the way to open a file in Python is using the open function. So that eliminates A, and it eliminates C, and it eliminates D. So the only possible answer is B. This is a section from Neil Armstrong's famous pair of lines, which are typically wrong. People think that what he said was one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. That's not actually what he said. He said that's one small step for a man and one giant leap for all of humanhood. So for all humans. So, but that's trivial. It's a liberal arts college, so it's part of your liberal arts education. So it's saying what's going to be printed by this slice. So the slice starts at index 0, and it ends before you get to index 6. So it's going to be the first 5 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I started counting from 1, so it's 6. Right, sorry, 6 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the correct answer. So my A is correct. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 6 characters. All right. Fill in the blanks so that the loop displays all the odd numbers from 1 to 100. Well, let's see. If we assign over and over and over again 1, that's an infinite loop. It'll never be more than 100. This one's going to be wrong because that's also an infinite loop. This one is wrong because that would print all the numbers between 1 and 100. Instead, you want to skip 1. So the correct answer is I plus 2. All righty, you got a list and it has Python and development, and then you add a third item with the value in progress, then print the whole list. This one is incorrect. A is incorrect because we didn't tell anything about an embedded list. So I don't know why there's square brackets inside here. So that makes that wrong. This one, B, is wrong because these two strings have been run together, and we didn't append to the list, not to a value in the list. This one looks good. Python development in progress, that's the answer. And D is incorrect because it's not printing the third value in progress. All right. What will be output for this format? There's nothing here that says you should print leading zeros. So both A and D are right out. Then it says, give me the floating point number with 5 places after the decimal point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 4. So B is the right answer. What initial value of X will cause an infinite loop? Well, let's see. So if we start out at 0, it'll say, while 0 is not 0, let's see, 0 is not equal to 0. Yes, that's false. So the loop won't even be entered. How about 2? So while 2 isn't 0, that's true. So he changes 2 into a 0 and it prints a 0. And now it ends because now 0 is truly, while 0 not equal to 0, 0 is equal to 0, so the loop ends. And in fact, it's going to be the same thing for 4. The infinite loop happens if you give this an odd number, right? Because it'll go from 7 to 5 to 3 to 1 to -1, and it's always non-zero. That's an infinite loop. This one is off the test. So everyone, this has been removed from the exam. Remember I told you list comprehension makes your head hurt? Well, here's an example of list comprehension, which is going to make a dictionary with 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 as the keys, and 0, 1, 4, 9, 16, the squares as the values. Real nice and short, but it makes your brain hurt. So this one's off the test. Oh, and there's the right answer. What is the value of x after the following code is executed? X is 7. The if statement doesn't happen because of the value of x. And then 2 is added to 7, so the answer is 9. So which statement uses the square function to assign the variable t with 16? So 16 is 2, the square of 2 squared. So what we're looking for is an instance of a square within a square, and in this ordering, that's the right answer. You see how these others are, here's one, a call to square, and here's another call to square, but it's not a call within a call. So this would be 16 times 4, or 64. This is going to assign 2 values to t, and this is just going to assign 8 to t. So here, the first call, 2 becomes 4, and then the second call, the 4 becomes 16. And that's the one they're looking for. Okay, what's the output of this? Now, the function they're giving you, the wrinkle here is that 2 of the parameters have default values. So you'll notice plan, the parameter plan has a default of basic, then it's not here. So the ID, app ID is that number. The term is specifying an override for the default. So the default value of term is 30, but you're overriding it with 14. And then basic is the default value for plan. So let's see, we've got app 10032, the basic plan 14 days. So A is the correct answer. So which one of these correctly calls this add function? So it's 3 parameters. This is no good because of the semicolons. This one's no good because it's missing the commas. This one is the right answer because it has the commas. This one is also wrong because it will be adding 2 and 4 and 6 to make 12, and then trying to call a function with a single parameter, but the function requires 3. Okay, so here is a for loop that will execute 11 times with the numbers 0 through 10, but it's going to skip the number 6. So it's not A. It's going to get all the way to 10, and it's going to skip 6. So B is the right answer. Which input value causes goodbye to be printed next? Where next is, all they're asking here is which value do you have to input to make the while loop not execute, to skip the while loop? So while 0 is greater than or equal to 0, no, that's no good. There is a value, and the value is not 1, it's -1. So while -1 is greater than or equal to 0, well, it isn't. So it never enters the loop and it prints goodbye. A child is required to use a booster seat in a car until the child is 9 years old, unless the child reaches the, this is the proverbial, you can ride without a booster seat if you are you reach this line. Okay, so unless the child reaches the height of 59 inches before the age of 9, which expression can be used to decide if a child requires a car seat or not? So if the age, see, this is a bad, I'll grant you this is a badly phrased question, because I'm not really sure which one you're supposed to be testing for, the positive or the negative. So let's say it's the positive. So it won't be A. If the child is 9 or greater or tall, they don't need a booster seat. There's an and condition here, not an or condition. So if the child is young and they're small, you need a booster seat. So it's this answer here. Okay, which of the following is true? A function can have any number of return statements or no return statement at all. That's the correct answer. Now, it's a good practice to have at most one return, but it's not a law. It's just a good practice. So it could have no return statements, or it could have any number of return statements. Okay. All right. Well, did you have any? No one stopped me, so I'm wondering, do you have any questions about the contents of the exam? Everyone's grade has been increased by 4 points. All right, folks, I am just dying of heat. So would anyone be upset if we called it a day? No one would be upset?
No, I'm just happy that you went over the test. There are a couple that I was confused on, but you cleared up most of the problems that I had.
Good. Thank you, Nicholas.
I'm pretty sure for the number 42, right before the end, it was supposed to be the or statement, I think is the correct answer.
Well, let me take a look. Maybe I got it wrong.
Or at least it marked it right for me, and that's what I had.
What did I do? Okay, unless the child. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Uh-huh. So if the child is too young. So the idea is the child needs a booster seat if they're too young or too small. So if they are young, but they're tall, they don't need a booster seat. So you got this marked as correct?
Yeah, because wouldn't it be, so if they're greater than or equal to 9 or they're greater than or equal to 59 centimeters, then they don't need a booster seat.
You see, that's the question is not well posed. Are you like I said, are we checking to see if they must have one or shouldn't have one? And this question doesn't say that. It's the or not. Now, folks, who got this marked wrong? And for those of you who have this marked wrong, which of these answers did you select? Okay, how about the people who got this marked correct? Which answers did you select?
Which question was it again? Sorry.
This is the one about booster seats.
Okay, let me pull it up real quick.
I chose the same one as Matt.
Okay,
Me too.
all right, then, and you got it marked.
Right.
Okay,
Correct. Yeah.
okay. All right, well, all right. So I've already increased everybody's grade by 4 points. Could we just call it a draw? What do you say we just call it a draw?
Yeah, I agree. That's fine.
Okay, okay, good, good. Yeah, I'm dying in here. I'm wearing winter clothes and it must be 80 degrees in here. I'm just and I can't disrobe. See, because my camera has to be on. See, if you were too hot, you could turn off your camera, but I don't have that luxury. So thank you for allowing me to end early. I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend because the weather is not terrible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Professor.
you.
See you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.